You sold Beam. Okay, you sold Beam for 25 million. Famously, you yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Oh, you can't even. But that was the headline.
That was the that's a
Okay,
that's a
that's the
correct
headline.
statement. That was
Okay.
the headline. Yeah.
That was what it was reported. Okay.
Yeah. Reported is an important aspect.
Now, for after a couple of years, it seemed to, I guess, fizzle out, or maybe it didn't meet the expectation that they had, or there was some kind, or maybe it didn't meet the expectation that you had. Something happened.
Yeah, I mean, so it was a very exciting opportunity to like grow something that we built from zero to something much, much bigger, especially under the umbrella of a gigantic parent company with really vast reach. But ultimately, like my business partner and I started the company. Ultimately, we never really found the footing that we had hoped to find within such a bigger parent company. And the parent company's decision was to bring everything that we had been doing with them in-house. Which they're still doing, and they're still making great content. They're still doing interesting things.
They are.
Yeah,
Where is it?
They all work out of CNN.
Oh, they work for CNN now.
Yeah, I mean, well,
where's the content live?
The minute on the Beam YouTube channel and other Beam outlets, and there's a lot of cross-pollination with some of the content they're creating and sort of the more mainstream outlets of CNN. I remember during the government shutdown last year, there was a really, really impactful piece that was produced entirely by Beam about how it's affected TSA workers. And like that piece was picked up by Anderson Cooper. So Anderson Cooper is reporting on, maybe reporting on's the wrong word, is using a Beam report to bolster or to maybe illustrate some of the things that he's talking about, which to me just felt like a real, that's sort of the ultimate success. So they're still making incredible work. I couldn't be more proud of what they're doing. But I think at the end of the day, like my business partner and I, it was not a great match. And that's sort of how that netted out.
You gave it a shot. Didn't really work out.
I think all around. I don't think that it was us just giving it a shot or them just giving it a shot. But I think it was something we all tried to pursue and really, really good. We had really good interests and we had really good plans. But ultimately, they went in a different. It was brought in a different direction.
And so, you sold them an app, but
well, I think that's where a lot of the misunderstanding comes from. So it was like, no, we weren't just selling them an app. We were selling like some of the most valuable things that we had pulled together at that company. Is we had an amazing developer team. That's very hard to do. Very, very hard to do, especially in New York City, especially when it comes to mobile video software development. Like that's a very hot spot. And that's something that every big company is trying to scoop up, even the Facebooks of the world and all the Googles. Like they would love, and they have such a tremendous appetite for the kinds of talent that we had aggregated and brought together. On top of that, like we had built a pretty amazing suite of intellectual property as well. One of the products that Beam launched quietly that was really successful was on the election day in 2016, a product called Exit Poll, which is this really cool app, one-day only app, where like you could post a video of who you voted for and why. And then we artificially stacked it. So you'd always see independent, Republican, Democrat, independent, Republican, Democrat. So it wasn't about how many people, it was about perspectives. And I remember like an hour into Election Day opening up that app and seeing the passion in the voice of Trump voters and the sort of hesitation in the voice of Hillary voters. And I knew like right then and there, because of an app that this incredible team built, that Hillary's going to lose the election. So in any event, like that was an example of one of the products that we built. So that acquisition was not for a simple software product. That acquisition was for sort of the whole package.
I see.
We had a physical space. We had wild talent. We had intellectual property. We had a plan. We had an agenda. We had ambition. And, when we were purchased, the parent company saw an opportunity within that. So it was a far more holistic thing. It was a more dynamic thing than just simply buying an app.
So when it fell through 2 years later, was there some kind of vesting thing there? Or, I mean, was that just like a sweet payday and you guys...
I mean, so it was spread... It was sort of different for every single employee and I will say that like they were amazing in how it was structured and how it played out. And I think that most everybody was part of the team was very empathetic and understanding about why this change was taking place. Because again, it wasn't a shuttering. It was like when this transition took place to bring it internal, I think almost everybody was offered a very very similar opportunity to what they had working externally, internally, and they could choose whether they want to go work for them or not go work for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was a difficult transition, but at the end of that transition, I think there was opportunities there for everybody, if that makes sense. I know it's a pretty soft answer to your question, but that's kind of how that worked.
I see.